maybe, just maybe, we are underestimating the impact that Colorado going to the Big 12 will have for this conference. And I think there are two different reasons we're underestimating it. We're going to talk about both of those right after this word from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you.
What is up, college sports fans, Big 12 fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? Welcome in to another edition of Couz's Corner. Belly yourself up to the bar and let me pour you out a shot of top shelf college football content. On tap in today's episode, we are talking about the Colorado Buffaloes and their move to the Big 12. I know it's old news now, we're into the season, but I've come to the realization that maybe, just maybe, we are not talking about this move enough, and maybe it's being underestimated. I've even seen comments, especially those out of the Pac-12 country, who are saying, you just got our worst team. You got a team that was 1-11 last year, hasn't been good for years, hasn't been able to compete for Pac-12 championships, yada, yada, yada. And I hear all that. And some of that made sense, right? And even some Big 12 fans have made those same comments. But I think we're underestimating the power this move could have, not only on the Big 12, but even on the college football landscape. And there are two different ways that it had an impact. Number one is the impact it had on other conference realignment moves. I think maybe that move had a bigger effect on other moves than people give it credit for. And number two, the positive impact it could have for the Big 12 conference, even more so than people may be realizing. The first way I want to talk about is the influence it had on other conference realignment moves, most notably Oregon and Washington going to the Big 10. Nicole Auerbach over at The Athletic just wrote an article recently about this, and I want to share a little bit of that with you, and then we're going to talk about it. The article not only talked about realignment, but it also talked about the Big Ten's decision to not go with divisions. But the part I'm going to focus on in this article is the realignment piece, and we're going to start here about the middle. I will leave a link to this article in the description box so you can check it out for yourself after the show. But it says the Big Ten added the two schools from the Pacific Northwest, talking about Washington and Oregon, on August the 4th, a move that was followed hours later by the Big 12 adding Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. Now, remember, Colorado had already went a week or two before that, right? They had already announced they were going to the Big 12. Back to the article. By the end of the night, the Pac-12 was on life support. It was a stunning and history-making day in the long history of college athletics. Just 9 days earlier, Petitti had stood on the podium, and Tony Petitti is the Big Ten commissioner, by the way. Petitti had stood on the podium at Big Ten football media days and said he was not focused on further conference expansion, but rather on the integration of USC and UCLA. He reiterated that the Big Ten presidents and chancellors had been clear in their direction to do just that. Asked this week what changed between that comment and the decision to add Oregon and Washington, Petitti pointed to Colorado's departure from the Pac-12, a move that became official the evening after his media days appearance. So Tony Petitti specifically says right there, the Big Ten commissioner specifically told Nicole Auerbach what changed our opinion about expansion and adding Oregon and Washington? Colorado's move to the Big 12. Now, if you guys remember, there were a lot of people from the West Coast and from Pac-12 country who said, Colorado going to the Big 12 is not going to change anything. The Pac-12 will rebuild and survive. It's not big enough to move the needle. But we had heard from people like Greg Flugar over at College Football's Pick Around the Corner who had said multiple times, and even Brett McMurphy at the Action Network had said, the Big Ten had already vetted Oregon and Washington. They would like to add into the conference. But what was holding it up? They were afraid of the legalities. They didn't want to be the conference responsible for tearing apart the Pac-12 and basically killing a conference. Well, by Colorado going to the Big 12, it opened the door for the Big Ten to then add Oregon and Washington without any legal repercussions potentially. So Colorado's move to the Big 12 is what opened that door, or it was already cracked open. It's what flung it open, in my opinion. Because what it did, it caused the talks about adding Oregon and Washington to speed up. And it talks about that later on in the article. Let's keep going. The Colorado move to the Big 12 increased some inbound conversations, Petitti said. We then spent time talking about that with the group of our presidents, then involved the full group of presidents and the athletic directors just to sort of pursue what a structure would look like and to discuss whether it was real interest from Oregon and Washington. Those conversations all took place early during the week. What obviously changed was just the circumstances around it. It created a different time frame, so it sped things up because it flung the door open where they could make the move without being, in their minds, responsible for destroying the Pac-12, which, to be honest, they had already kind of done by taking USC and UCLA, but in their mind, they didn't see it that way. So that is how it impacted conference realignment. That is really the move. Colorado to the Big 12 is really what flung the door open for the Big 10 to then go at Oregon and Washington and get two more of those West Coast schools. It basically just sped up the process. They were probably going to add them eventually anyway. It just happened a lot quicker because of Colorado leaving for the Big 12. Now, what I really want to focus on in this video and what I think is the most, being a Big 12 guy, being a West Virginia fan, what really intrigues me the most is how Colorado being added to the Big 12 could bring value to the conference. Now, I understand they were 1-11 a year ago. And I understand there might be some recency bias here because of the big win they just had over TCU. But, folks, I think we might be underestimating the impact Coach Prime is having on Colorado and how that could impact the Big 12. For example, this past weekend's game against TCU, the big upset win, Colorado had over TCU, had the second highest TV ratings of any college football game in week one. The Florida State LSU game on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. had the highest ratings with 9.17 million viewers, but keep in mind that game had no competition, okay? And Florida State and LSU were both, big brands too that moved the needle. So I get that. But 9.17 million viewers, a 4.7 rating is what that game had. Number two was the Colorado TCU game, which aired at noon on Saturday on Fox. Now, that game had other games. It was competing with other games in that noon time slot. It had a rating of 3.8 and 7.26 million viewers. Now, the fact it was a close game, I'm sure, played a role in it, okay? But let's be honest. And look, I love TCU. They're a Big 12 school, but TCU is not bringing 7.2 million viewers to the television screen. Who is? Colorado and Coach Prime. Regardless, look, Coach Prime has said and done a lot of things I don't like. I don't like the way he spoke to the media after the game. I had a problem with that. And some of the other things he's done, I don't like. But let's face it, folks, he moves the needle. Coach Prime and the moves he's made at Colorado and the polarizing figure that he is makes people interested in Colorado. They want to see how he does there. And people watch it. And now it's exciting football. You've got Sheuder Sanders throwing for over 500 yards. You've got a two-way player in Travis Hunter. People want to watch Travis Hunter. They want to see how a guy does playing both sides of the ball because it's almost unheard of in today's college football. He played 140-some snaps in that game, folks. We don't see that. It's exciting. People want to tune in. And Coach Prime, like I said, he's a polarizing figure. People are interested. And he's always going to be a polarizing figure. And that's coming to the Big 12, folks. If you think that's not going to have an impact on the future television deal, I think you're mistaken. Coach Prime is still at Colorado when the Big 12 goes back to the negotiating table with the networks. There is no way it can hurt the Big 12. It's got to be positive because I know they probably won't continue to see those same kind of ratings at week in, week out because the newness will wear off. But as long as Coach Prime stays in the news, as long as he continues to say and do polarizing things, which he probably will because that's who he is, he's going to keep Colorado in the spotlight. And plus, I'll be honest, I think he wants to keep Colorado in the spotlight. That's part of the attraction of bringing him to there. Their interest in that program is sky high right now. Have you ever seen interest in a 1-11 team like this? I haven't. For goodness sake, their spring game was on ESPN, the only one they aired. They're selling out their games. Their merch is flying off the shelves. Colorado will gain football fans because of Coach Prime, which will do nothing but continue to increase their TV ratings. Now, they have to keep winning. I get that. They have to keep winning, and Coach Prime has to stay there. Is the Big 12 going to catch the SEC and the Big 10? No, they're not. But having Coach Prime in the conference, if they can continue to bring in similar TV ratings to what they brought in last week, man, it's going to do nothing but help this conference from a financial perspective and could help propel the Big 12 into third place, solely into third place as far as TV revenue goes when they negotiate this new deal in which they'll probably go back to the table in 29 or 30. Guys, I think it's a great move. It's a home run move for the Big 12 to add Colorado. And I think, and I know they haven't been the best brand as far as the way they perform on the football field. Utah has been the best performing brand coming in. But having Coach Prime and the attention he brings, in my opinion, makes them more valuable than Utah in the long run. Now, Utah fans may disagree with that. And some of you other folks may disagree with that. But it's all about money. It's all about TV money. It's all about selling ad revenue. It's all about the brand. And right now, there's not a brand more valuable in college football, in my opinion, than Colorado. And they're coming into our conference. We need to embrace it. We may not like it as far as we may not like what Coach Prime says and does, but we need to embrace the fact he's in our league, the attention it's going to bring to our league, and the eyeballs it's going to bring to our league and our team's games. If you're a Big 12 fan, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Couz's Corner family, what do you think about this move of Colorado coming to the Big 12? Do you think it's being underestimated? I know it's been talked about. People have mentioned it in passing, but I really think it's more valuable than people make it out to be. So I want to hear your thoughts. Is this too much recency bias for me here? I want to hear your thoughts. Also, what do you think about the article from Nicole Auerbach talking about the Colorado going to the Big 12 is what really caused the Big 10 to speed up their conversations with Oregon and Washington. I want to hear your thoughts on that as well. It proved people like Greg Pflugar right. Let's not forget that. A lot of people said he was an idiot, basically, that he didn't know what he was talking about, and almost everything he said came to fruition. So hats off to Greg Pflugar over at College Football Speak Around the Corner, and also to people like Brett McMurphy and others who were reporting this. Also, guys, if you want to help me out here on the channel, if you like my work here and want to support me, become a member of my channel. Hit the join button right below. Right now, you see my pub level members. That's the introductory level. You see the names of those folks scrolling along the bottom of your screen. Also, I have a club level, which is level 2. You see their names scrolling along the bottom of the screen right now. I want to give a shout out to one of my newest members, and that's Denny Allen. Denny, I really appreciate you joining the Couz's Corner VIP family. Also, want to give a shout out to Timothy Hetrick Jr., who upgraded his membership from pub level to club level. Thank you both for your support, and thank you to the rest of my members as well. And folks, if you new channel members, or for those of you who haven't done this yet, send me your mailing address to couz.walker@gmail.com, and I will send you one of these as a show of appreciation for being a channel member. It's a Couz's Corner drink koozie. See, it's got my logo on the front, top shelf college football content on the back. You get one of these free for being a channel member. So for new members and members who have yet to do so, send me your mailing address, and I'll get one of these out in the mail to you as a show of appreciation. Just one of the perks that go along with being a channel member here and a VIP member here at Couz's Corner. Also, if you want to support me absolutely free, there are several ways you can do that. You can hit the thumbs up button, which is a like. You can drop the comment below. You can subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Help me get to my next big goal of 10,000. And last but not least, you can share this out with your family and friends who love college football, especially if they like Big 12 or West Virginia football or conference realignment talk. I cover all that here on the channel. With that being said, guys, I really appreciate you tuning into this episode and for all your support. And until the next episode, Q Country Roads.